Well, let's see. Looks like we're live for the Javier Mendez podcast. Hopefully everybody can hear me good. Gonna double check the stream and see how we sound. Okay. We're on a delay. Okie doke. So I got a question there for Hav. Let me get to your questions. So let's pop this one in there. When are you leaving for Perth and who's going to be in Islam's corner? Okay. So I think Javier is going to be leaving tomorrow or Monday. Just got off the phone. He has lost his voice. It was hard to talk on the phone, but he's going to, take soup and whatever he's going to do for tomorrow. He said the voice went out last night. So we're going to shoot for Sunday, and I'll take any questions that you guys got that I have insight on. And let's see. Of course, Idris Khabib is my man. Really miss him. I think, Javier does too. I was just talking to him about that, but we'll ask him more about that on the show. And, I think Khabib needs some time with his children and his family, wants to watch them grow. But I'll tell you this about fighting. I've been around it a long time, and I've seen these people come back, and there's always a chance. But I don't know that Khabib's going to be in the corner in Perth. I'm not going to promise that or anything. But looking forward to seeing Islam defend his title, and just feeling pretty confident in that fight. How about you guys? What's up, Em? Good to see you. So here's what's going to happen tomorrow. Javier's going to come on at noon. We meant to do it today, but the voice is something you can't control, right? Yeah, Javier is very different today. Nice gray beard, a little different type of sweatshirt. Doesn't say AK today, but it will tomorrow. Where's everybody from here in the chat? Let's see if I get any answers. Because I know we reach all over the world. That's the crazy thing about this chat. It goes Indonesia, Germany, Russia, England, even Australia. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Let's talk about this one. Naksu. Love how you're teaching them English. Umar confidence level improves a lot. The way he fights and speaks. Very true. Actually, I'm going to put a video on, a couple of videos on this afternoon about the English lessons with Coach Javier and the guys, especially Umar. So let's see here. Who's going well? Let's see. Yes. Coach Javier. Coach is a big fan of Islam. We got Afra Alemasa from Kuwait. Welcome. That's very cool that we're reaching that far. Is it late at night over there? M from Kenya. Right on. I mean, it's awesome. This channel just reaches across the world. So I was going to be really excited to be back because he misses the global audience and talking to people. I love the sport. Here's a good question. Mohammed Zishan, is DC going to be commentating on Islam versus Alex? I think so. I know Joe Rogan's not going to do the international, so I think, what's his name? The Dragon. He was another guy. Can't think of his. Paul Felder is going to be filling in for Joe, and I believe DC is going to be going, and Typical Crew. That's what's going to be over there going on in Australia. And oh wow, so I'm gonna have trouble saying your name. Silo Nya Sabingya. Hopefully I said it right. From Malaysia. I've been there. Kuala Lumpur. Yeah. Beautiful place, beautiful island, beautiful beaches. Ferengi Beach. Now you know I've been there. Let's see. We got Chigum in here. Chigum from Toronto, Canada. Awesome. Let's see. Oh, more Malaysia. Yeah, Malaysia likes MMA, apparently, quite a bit. So, yeah, this is a good one for me. Favorite trainer. Of course, Javier. And he's the winningest coach. He's humble. He's not one to brag, but I can say nice things for him since I filmed him for 2 years and met with him for lunch every day. And we're good friends, talk all the time. So I get to know Javier very well. You can ask me stuff about Jav. Who's your favorite trainer? Javier. 22 champions, I believe, in different organizations, possibly more under his belt as his time as a trainer. So that's who I'm going with. And wow, Sayed Najal from Afghanistan. Man, that's awesome. That is wild. This channel is everywhere. And of course, fans from Australia. Now, this could be a Islam fan in Australia, or it could be somebody checking out our secret recipe. Wow. So it's 11:40 p.m. So it's not too late, getting close to midnight over in the East, Asia, or yeah. Let's see. One Islam coach leaving for Australia. I said this a little earlier. I believe it's going to be tomorrow or Monday. It's a long flight. It's like, I think it's over 20 hours. It's quite a long flight. It's almost like a whole day in the air. You need a sleeping pod and all that stuff because it's just hard. And Yassine Namel, welcome back. Thank you, Yassine. It's great to see you. Wow. And even, yeah, Mauritius. Now, am I saying that right? I know that that's a lot further away. I'm in the United States, North Carolina. Hav's over in California, San Jose. I used to live near him, and we used to do a lot of stuff out there, and we evolved into the podcast. Well, Islam versus Habib. People have always believed it's Habib. I don't know. It's like we'll never know because I don't think they could ever fight each other. They love each other too much. Divano. Sei da Italia. Molto bene. So we have somebody from Italy. I used to live there when I was a kid. Very cool. Vicenza. Nord Italia. Let's see. We got Idris Muhammad from Afghanistan. Awesome. This is just wild. I was going to trip out. He's going to watch this and go, look at all these people. Malaysia time right now is 4:45 a.m. I mean, Edzvan Abdullah. Jeez. That is, man, good for you being up early for this thing. Sorry you have to wait for tomorrow. Another early wake up, but we'll have Hav on for sure. Even if he's nodding because of his voice. Let's see. What about Makhachev? Hit Alex in the head, kick, long leg advantage like Max to Alex in second fight. I think the blueprint to beat shorter fighter on the feet like Alex Volkanovski is long leg. That's a good observation. I was actually watching that fight last night. I like to watch tape, and Luthfan, the long range. I saw the problem with that fight was Volkanovski liked that Max was always moving in on him. He was putting pressure, and you've seen Habib pressure fight, like push a guy, but he wants to grapple. So pushing Volkanovski was counterpunching. And it was benefiting him the more that Max kept chasing him and he got good punches on the guy. So, yeah, I do think the kicking, I do think that Islam is probably a lot. He's special. He's got a special way of managing the range. He's not just going to open himself up to a lot of hits. He's been in so many fights without hardly ever getting hit. So it's a different style. Some people are rock'em sock'em robots, but I also think the grappling is going to play a huge part of this because, you know, Islam style is Dagestan wrestling, Dagestan grappling, Sambo, where I saw, what was his name? Ortega fight Volkanovski, and Ortega's a jiu-jitsu specialist, so they don't really specialize on hard takedowns like wrestlers or judo guys. Like judo guys will hip toss you. Wrestlers will go in for a double leg, single leg, wizard takedown. So that was the difference. I got to say, though, that, looking at this, that'll be the advantage for Islam. I think that's what he's going to have. He has more takedown ability, and he has a different kind of stand up, and he doesn't just put his head out there to get pinged on. And I do think the distance will make a difference. And I think Islam's stronger than Volkanovski realizes. That's another thing I think too. I've filmed him. I've filmed him sparring, training with Khabib. So I get to see behind the scenes. So I'm telling you, I think he's stronger. Let's see what Luke fan says. All Alex fans' last opponent always using one-dimensional boxing when on the feet, which is that style of boxing is the advantage for Alex as a shorter fighter and elite boxer. No one give him fight in different areas. Totally agree. That's a good statement right there. Why the long layoff? Oh, well, part of that was on me. I had some stuff come up. So they were back a year later. Sorry for the delay. So much has happened. Usman has become a champion. Islam has become a champion. And we have young Eagle Umar coming up the ranks. And everything's going just like Javier said it would. And I think a lot of it's got to do with these young men's discipline, their whole focus, their religion, their dedication to the sport. And I think that's what gives them an edge over other people that have so many other distractions. And I think we expect more of the same. Let's see. Yes, we'll get this comment to Javier for sure. Good to see you, Assad. Let's see. Islam more technical than Khabib from UK. Tell you what, that's an interesting statement, Beyond. I think that Islam has got a different stand-up and different type of athleticism, but Khabib's style, his mind, it's his fight IQ, they're very comparable. I don't want to put one above the other, but I definitely got to give the GOAT his respect, which is Khabib, and not just because he won and he left. I mean, he was telling you, watch my training partner who's going to become the champion, and sure enough, he did. I think they're both technical, but in their own ways. I do think that the stand-up from Islam is a little got longer range. Kicks are a little bit more dynamic. That's where a difference is, but that's what I see. Yep, Islam fan for sure. Let's see. What do we have here? Well, I do think pretty good of the religion of Islam. I was over there. I went to the mosque and filmed Khabib, and I just saw the dedication, and I felt like it keeps people focused, and I think that's an advantage. And I think some fighters, don't need to name any names, can get distracted by success and fame and glory and all this stuff. And I think that's the difference with the Dagestan fighters, is that they toe the line. They stick to a very good way of life and keep themselves out of trouble and keep themselves focused and faithful and all the good stuff. Hope that answers your question. Okay. What are my thoughts on the last Umar fight? I want to hear everybody else's thoughts on that one too. Yassine, I thought that was tremendous. I thought that it was great to see Umar get a knockout, because he's been finishing a lot with grappling, but he's got tremendous stand-up. He's got great kicks that people can't anticipate, but it's good now that he can have confidence in his hands as well. And now his opponents are going to think twice about it. The Eagle. Hello. Let's see. We got Mustang, Oklahoma. What's up, Wayne? That's wild. So we get somebody from the States. There's my Italian. Oh, grazie. Bella Vicenza. Molto bene. Dove sei in Italia? Barbaros Hayreton, how to be around Islamic dudes. It was very cool. They were very nice, very accepting. I was just an American guy hanging out with very devout, Muslim Russian guys from Dagestan. And yeah, they were great. Treated me like family. A lot of respect, very much respect for Coach Javier. Gentlemen, I mean, I couldn't say anything bad about him. And that's the thing. It's like people don't know. And you hang around them. If you listen to, there's a podcast out on Joe Rogan lately with Bilal Muhammad talking about training with them and what his experience was like. And I think you'll find it pretty interesting. Let's see. Mohammed Zishan. If Alex wins, he's going to be the UFC lightweight and featherweight champ. Well, that's what they're fighting for. Yeah, he would have both belts. There's really no benefit for, Islam defending his belt. It's the pound for pound, because I think Alex has been the most winningest fighter lately in the division. So they want to see somebody with the most consistency and most wins. So that's kind of what, you know, Islam's trying to show them, like he can be a pound for pound as well. He doesn't get another belt for that, but it'll be in the conversation. What happens for Alex is like he gets 2 belts. So it's a very good pay-per-view, a very good, you know, it's going to be a big, big turnout. So there's that's the positive side, a good opponent for Islam. Yeah, watching you from Dubai. How was the GOAT Habib? Habib's doing good. He's with his family. Javier's talking to him a lot. He could just pick up the phone. He's no longer so busy. He's just available now. Now they have just regular conversations. So he's doing good. Let's see. And Islam's opponent's looking for secret recipe. I'll tell you the secret recipe. You can't get the secret recipe. And I was just talking to Javier on the phone about this. The thing about the secret recipe is this. You'd have to grow up with Habib and train with him your whole life until now. And that way you would learn what he does. A lot of people in Dagestan are excellent grapplers, excellent wrestlers, excellent Sambo fighters and judo fighters. Top of the line. Some of the biggest sport in that area, you know. So, but then there's Habib's version and Habib's father's version. And that fusion and then training together and evolving for over a decade together since they were children. You can't be an opponent of someone like Islam or Habib and go, oh, I'll just bring some Dagestan guys in here. Well, you're not going to get his team because they stick together. So you might get some other Dagestani guys and you might get a percentage of their style and their techniques, but you're not going to get the fusion and you're not going to get the secret recipe. Even if I told it to you, you wouldn't get the recipe because that's a lifestyle. That's a commitment to the training. And yeah, that's the funny part. You could say it on the podcast. They're like, we know the secret recipe. We need to get in a time machine for 20 years and go train with Habib for 20 years. And then we'll know how to beat him this next weekend. And that's kind of what I see happening. This is a good question. Zizou, when is Usman moving to the UFC? Well, I think he's very happy at Bellator. He's going to be very successful there. They're taking good care of him. He's happy with what he's making and he likes his opponents and he's getting lots of attention. I think it would be a longer road. The UFC can get political or another fight outsells another fight. And meanwhile, I mean, he's a lightweight champion and Islam's a lightweight champion. And they don't really care to beat each other up. They're brothers. So it's, you know, that's no way. Not brothers, but brothers. You know what I mean? So let's see. Let's go here. Coach Javier doing a great job teaching his fighters from Silonkia. Sabateknya. See if I can, sorry if I mispronunciate anything. Great job teaching his fighters to speak English so they can market themselves to more fans, do a lot of interviews. Bit of trash talking, of course, in the octagon after the win. You're very correct. And it's not even like forced. He is teaching them because he loves them. They're like family. It's like a family relationship. It's like nothing I've ever seen. These guys really respect him. It's part of their culture. And it's also part of the culture that Javier comes from. So those two things work really well. And he does like teaching them. And we've all watched them. Their English is getting so good now. So good. I don't know if I've uploaded the video, but I want to upload it today about, I don't know if I've uploaded the full length, where one of the fighters was saying, well, I didn't need him to translate for me because he was just going. Like, I don't know, I was standing there. Yes, I do. Yeah, I've actually done a podcast with him right when COVID hit back in the day. If you look on this channel, you'll find a podcast with Islam. We were talking to him when he was in Dagestan. But I used to film him, and a lot of these videos you see on the channel are videos that I made when you see the nice, super clear camera and Javier training and they're doing mitt work and stuff. That was me doing that. And like, you also know the video with where they're grappling DC. I did those too. So yeah, I know him pretty well. Nice guy, gentleman, always nice. Never seen the guy mad, never seen him rude. And the funny thing is, it's like when he goes in the cage, when you see him going for sparring, change in the eyes, you see the warrior. He goes from hi coach, and then warrior. It just instant change. So that's what I can tell you about him. Let's see. You know how Islam and his partners diet training during Ramadan, for example, so they still train but less or more certain types. Does Islam still lift weights during Ramadan? I think they're pretty smart about it. They try not to get dehydrated, and they really do stick to all the traditional Islamic traditions of, when they eat and all that stuff. So I think it's like they manage it a certain way so it works out best, but there's no cheat code. They do it like everybody else there when they're doing their diet during that time. Good to hear from you too, Santino. Let's see. Do you think Islam will move weight if, well, that was kind of a question I had earlier. I don't think Usman is going to move over necessarily. I mean, for any strange reason, I can't see it. Plus, he's got a good contract with Bellator. And we'll see plenty of him on the channel. And I think he's going to help the Bellator brand because he is such an exciting fighter. His next fight's going to be against Benson Henderson. And Javier feels really good about that one. So that's what we're looking at right now. Let's see. Yeah, New Haven, Connecticut. Fantastic. Might be cold up there right now this time of year. Okay. Have an exam tomorrow. Just want to say big fan of Habib and his team. Want to thank you. Yes, tune in tomorrow because Javier is going to be with us, and hopefully it's not missing. He doesn't lose his voice, and he needs to be healthy because he's coaching in Perth, Australia. So let's see. MMA fans, look, Alex cardio is great, but that is not true. All his last opponents always using boxing, never fight, try different area. He always and also he never faces elite grappler has insane cardio. Luth, 100%, 100%. Alex's cardio, yeah, it's different when you're, it's one thing if you're boxing every round. And I noticed this by watching him fight Ortega and and Max. Like every fight, he started out like tap, like he wanted to tap, get them in the ring, get them to tap gloves. So he wanted them to come to the ring instead of like moving around and coming at him from a different angle. It's like he was trying to program his opponent, which I'm going to tell Javier about. We saw something that he was doing, trying to get them in his rhythm. Follow me. Don't think about your plan. That's something I picked up. And I do agree. Nobody's really playing serious grappling. And I looked at the choke that Ortega put on him and didn't get it because he probably didn't anticipate, because the neck he didn't have a super long neck, so he didn't have a really easy way to lock it up. And then Alex locked him out of totally being able to tap him out. So it looked really drastic if you watch the fight. This is, all that fast boxing, you start taking that guy down 5, 6, 7, 8 times, that boxing slows down. It slows down a lot. And a lot of his opponents have not done that to him. So that changes everything. That's a very good observation. And that's a good thing to see. Let's see. Raj Khan. After Umar's last win, 4 other ranked bantamweights suddenly got booked. They're avoiding Umar, so they signed contracts with each other. Very possible. Look how much people were avoiding Islam and then saying, oh, he's not good enough. He doesn't have a record. Well, of course he didn't have a record because everybody was afraid to fight him. He fought non-top 10 opponents an extra couple of times just because nobody would fight him. And maybe they were afraid. Maybe they weren't. Maybe as a fighter, they go, I have a 50, 60, 70% chance of losing that fight. And I want to get to the next level. So my pay goes up 100,000. No, give me someone easier. And that's probably what they did. I don't know if I can blame them, but it doesn't, fair is not how it always works out. It doesn't always work out fair. That's for sure. Okay. This is a good question. You guys can tell me what you think too. Tell me who you think. I'll give you my picks. So Santino Kravitz wants to know thoughts on tonight's pay-per-view. Let me see if I can bring that up here because I was just looking at it on Sherdog. We can talk about that card. Okay. I'm going to share the screen. We can look at this pay-per-view. Chrome tab. Boom. Let's see. Teixeira versus Hill. Okay. Are we in the stream here? You guys can see that? Okay. So this is the fight that's going on in Brazil. Teixeira and Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill's a banger knockout guy, but that's nothing that Glover hasn't seen before. And Glover's more of a grappling guy, and he knows what Jamal wants to do. And odds are kind of leaning in his favor, in Glover's favor to win the fight tonight. So that's probably where it may end up. Still, Jamal could have a puncher's chance, not totally wearing him out there. Now, this one's been going on forever. Dyson Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno. Awesome fight to watch. These guys have fought each other so much. It might as well be sparring practice. The odds were leaning in Figueiredo's thing, but Brandon still has a chance. It's 50-50 with me. I can't call that. Gilbert Burns, I'm going to go for him over Neil Magny because I think he's just way more aggressive. I think Magny's great. I like Magny. If he wins, I'll be like, wow, cool. He really thought it out. But I think Burns is waiting for more of a like Khamzat Chimaev kind of situation. But there's a good possibility, Neil Magny's like uses this against him because Gilbert comes out hard and he's got knockout power and he's strong as heck. We saw him up against the biggest of the scary monster fighters. I think that's an interesting one to call. You guys can tell me who you think you get on that one. It sounds like Gilbert's overlooking Magny, but odds are in Gilbert's favor. So if there's an upset, it's because he was underestimated. Going for Gilbert. Lauren Murphy, Jessica Andrade. Lauren Murphy hits pretty hard, likes to come for it. I think she had a big opportunity recently and it didn't work out. So I think she's going to be trying to redeem herself. Jessica Andrade, I don't know. I'll go with Lauren Murphy on this one. Let's see. Paul Craig and Johnny Walker. And this will be the last one I talk about. Paul Craig, grappling machine. He gets a hold of you and he's up against Johnny Walker. And here's the interesting thing. Johnny Walker started off his first few fights like a phenom and was talking like he was ready to knock out John Jones like it was simple. I've seen another fighter many years ago start off like Johnny Walker with some wild dynamic athleticism. But lately, Johnny Walker, let's see his record. He's 19-7. So he beat Ian Cutelaba, rear submission choke, but he lost to Jamal Hill, who's fighting for the belt tonight. And he lost to Thiago Santos in a decision. And he beat Ryan Spann, and then he lost to two other guys, Nikita Krylov and Corey Anderson. Yeah, so he's been knocked out a couple of times too. So, when you're looking at this, Johnny Walker, and let's look at Paul Craig's record here. 16-5. Yeah, Craig beat one of the guys that beat Johnny Walker. So there's a possibility. Volkan Ozdemir get the better of Paul Craig, and he probably, it was a decision, but I think Paul Craig probably learned from that. So I'm still going to go with Paul Craig, and that's my thoughts on this evening. You guys can tell me what you think. Let me take this out again. Give me your calls for tonight. Okay. Yes. Let's see. Muhammad. Will Harris going to be in Australia with Islam? Love Anatomy of Fighting. He's a cool dude. I've filmed side by side with that guy. He's definitely got to go to a few more places. I mean, we've both been to Dubai, but I think he went there a couple times more than me. He also has been over to Dagestan. There's a chance, but it all depends. It's an expensive flight, and he'd probably have to come up with the money for that. And that's expensive going to Australia. So who knows? We're in these times. I know he'd like to, but maybe we'll see him. Hopefully we do. He's a great guy. There's even a podcast with Will Harris on this channel if you want to check it out. Javier and I talked to him. Let's see. I suggest doing a group call between AKA and Team Eagles record live broadcast. That'll be fun. Right now we can't bug Habib, who's being a family man, but maybe we'll get some of the guys on here. I can't promise. I never push for it. It's mainly been about the coach and the coaching methods. I get video and footage and all the latest updates of the guys, which you see in the shorts and you see in the videos here. But you can hit Javier about that tomorrow. Hit him up and see if he'll rally for that. That would be great. Let's see. Luth fan. If using teep kick, body kick, head kick, long leg advantage when on the feet and not close distance against Alex, that will make Alex look stupid because he will never be able to touch Makhachev. Possibly. I think he would definitely rush in. That's kind of his style. But if he rushes in, then he might meet he might meet Dagestan Airlines, which is major takedown. Hey, Violet. Good to see you again. Is Umar going to fight again in March? Talked to Javier about that today. Was he's losing his voice, but I could make it up. He said Umar is going to fight, and he's trying to get a fight in March. He's staying out in the California area so he can get the fight in March, and he's trying to get on that card. He's trying to work his way up the ladder to get himself in title contention because he had a long layoff and he got back, and he knows that if he keeps waiting every 3 or 4 months, he'll never get there. So he has to get fight after fight. So he's trying to book in some fights as quick as possible. So that's what's going on. So very likely that he'll be fighting in March, and he's got a great agent, and he'll get him something. He usually does. Let's see. Romberu. I wish I could go watch Islam fight in Australia. That's going to be interesting because the house fans are with their boy Volkanovski. So that's pretty stepping up there to go take on the champ in his own territory, which Islam's doing. But you know what? That should really bring a lot of excitement. It should be a great pay-per-view. Should be a really exciting time in Australia. There's going to be a lot of people pumped for that one, for sure. Okay. So this is the big question, and I'll get more in depth with that tomorrow when Javier's on. Why did Khabib leave coaching for a bit? What's happening with Eagle FC? How can we support it? Well, I'll get that update from Javier, but I think Eagle FC is going to keep on rolling. What happened is Khabib's got a couple beautiful children, and he wants to be home and be a father and watch them grow up. And he spent the last year making sure his brothers get to the championship between Usman and Islam, and he needs to be daddy time. He loves his kids. The kids call him, come home, Dad, come home. And he loves his kids, and he wants to be family man for a while, take a break, and step away from coaching for a while. He knows they're in good hands with Coach Javier and some of his fellow Dagestani coaches, tremendous coaches out there as well, and the fighters working with each other. So it's he's not too worried about it, but he does bring the intensity. He was there for like the title push for a couple of his teammates, which now one's the champion. Well, 2 of them are the champion, and we're waiting for young Eagle to work his way up towards championship as well. Let's see. What do you think Islam's next 2 fights should be? I think they should be for Beneil and Arman. Those are good fights, and I think Beneil is deserving. I like Beneil. I respect where he's coming from. And Arman is a very good fighter, another great grappler. They've had a tremendous match against each other a long time ago. He gave Islam some of the roughest time he's had since being in, but I also think you're going to find Arman's going to be facing a different Islam who's evolved and gotten way better since that fight. So that's something to keep in mind as well. I think those are good. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head. Of course, I'd like to watch him just silence some of the people that said he wasn't good enough, but I don't think they're saying that anymore. I don't think Michael Chandler's screaming out his name anymore. I don't think a lot of these guys are screaming out his name anymore. So you guys can tell me who you think would be a good matchup, but I thought those were 2 good picks. Good choice. Cage Doll, let's see. Okay, what do we got here? Why did Khabib? Well, I just answered that one, yeah. But yeah, we'll get more on that Eagle FC thing from Javier tomorrow. Okay. Top 3 fighters from Dagestan. Okay, Khabib, Islam, and it's a tie for Umar. And, well, I like Manap for being Manap, maybe not for his fighting, that his top fighting record, but just the guys that I know have spent the most time with. Usman and Umar are tied for me so make that 4. But I like them all. I hung out with all of them. I mean, even went jet skiing with Manop, and he tried to throw me off the back of the jet ski. That was fun. Let's see. Yes, Oh, wow. Yeah. You've been around AKA from the beginning, Lori. Josh and Kane going way back to the beginning of MMA. Let's see. Usman Nurmagomedov versus Pitbull. Give us a blueprint when the fighter was short. See, Luthfan's a very good analyst. He's really looking at the fights. I got to give him some props. How to manage distance against a shorter fighter. Yeah, with great hands. You know, I would say spar with Umar, who's a little shorter than him, who's got great hands and great kicks. Even better, possibly better than Volk, especially the kicks. So, yeah, there's options. There's a way to do this. Yeah, this will be good. Usman, that was Usman's amazing. Javier couldn't say anything, but he thinks he's the most athletic of all of them. And it's hard for me to say because I've watched them all in sparring and I've followed them around for a couple of years and watched them training every day that they were down at camp. And it's hard to say the difference there for me. Let's see. By the way, Shock Umar's hands is elite for boxing, elite leg kicks. The kicks are always there. The kicks have always been there. So I can tell you that much. Wow, I didn't realize my microphone was picking up my washing machine. It jumped up in volume. Sorry, guys. Let's see. Umar will be ready for Perth. That's going to be Islam. Why did Habib? Yeah, it would have been nice to have Umar, but I think it's just going to be Islam on the card. Let's see. Okay, we have that one. Mass respect. Athlete just wondered, how do you keep the fight with regards to head trauma? They wear a lot of protection, and they're very good at not punching each other to, just for effect. They manage that stuff. They don't just sacrifice in rock'em sock'em boxing fights. Daniel Bourne, yeah. They keep themselves out of head trauma as much as possible. That's their style, is not to engage in full boxing match as much. They're grapplers, So that's most of their stuff. But they do have great stand-up. And they can deliver, and a lot of them have knockout power. And sometimes it's not always seen because they're getting a submission. Beside Islam Umar, who do you think will be the next prodigy in Usman? I don't have his name off the top, but Javier was mentioning him, but we'll be talking about him tomorrow. Let's see. Does Eagle FC have big sponsors from Dubai? I'm not sure. You might want to ask Jav, but he might not know. It's more of something that's, in the business of Habib. Let's see. Why don't Habibs make a game with AK license? That'd be cool. But, the UFC's kind of got the lock on that one. And we're talking probably millions upon millions of dollars to create one the way they want to make it. So many people working on it. So, you can play all these guys on the Xbox or the PlayStation on UFC, and they've updated it lately. I don't know if Umar's on there, but you can't play Usman because it'd be cool to make a Bellator game. I think they've tried that in the past, so it takes a minute. This is the funniest one, Living Air. Why? I never realized it. Maybe because we're close to the same age, we all start looking the same. But we've been hearing this ever since we've been doing the podcast, and that's the funny part about it. The only way to know the difference is he's not rocking that part. He's not rocking the goatee. Let's see. What happens if a fighter has a flu before a fight? I think sometimes that fight might get canceled, but I don't know. I don't know for sure. I think some people have fought through torn meniscus, kneecaps, and I think they fought with flus, and they've fought being dehydrated, and they fought with staph infections. So some of them will just fake it for just to get the payday because they work so hard to get there. They don't want to not get paid. So they'll do anything. So it could, if they can't walk and they can't keep their head up, it would have to be a drastic flu, Beyond, honestly, I can see Islam knocking out Volk. Coach, I loved when he knocked out Gleason Tibau and knocked down Charles. Yeah, that Charles thing was very close to a knockout. And, one more blow, I'm sure it would have been, but he chose to choke him out on that one. So let's see what we got here. There's a good question. Jerry Cristiano. Javier's he lost his voice. I was just talking to him before the stream. We were supposed to go on today at noon, but he'll be on tomorrow. He's getting some chicken noodle soup and stuff. I don't know if he was screaming at training or something. And I was like, come on. So I told him I'd go on because we didn't just want to cancel a stream on you guys. And then I'd figure I'd just talk to everybody. And tomorrow I'll have Javier on. And even if he can't speak well, just have him nod along as we talk. We'll try to squeak out an answer. Oh, no, thank you, Umar Waris. I do like answering your questions. I've got a lot of inside knowledge being around Hob and the team for quite a while. So even on my own MMA gym, so I can give you guys some good stuff. Let's see. Raj Khan, hey, Len, thanks for coming on. I got to leave, but the content is great, and I'll come back. Okay. Well, you have a great day, Raj. And I'm looking forward to, we haven't been active in about a year, so should be a bigger podcast tomorrow. At least you guys will know, but I wanted to start off with something and answer some questions that I could. How come Umar and Usman are so much better kickers than Khabib and Islam? Is it all down to the coach? It's different sizes. It's like when you're fighting at a smaller weight, but then again, I got to say, it's just what they preferred growing up as kids. Like you're going to have different basketball players. One guy's good at dunking the ball. Another guy's good at shooting 3-point shots from the outside. So, when you take on these different martial arts, you might be the best judo guy. And if you look at the judo throws of Islam, those are amazing. But Islam has great kicks too. He's just not using them all. And they have more weapons than they show. They just use the weapons they need to win the match. They don't want to put on a full display, not because they're hiding, but this is just kind of how it works when they get in there. They go, I don't need to use that to beat this guy. That's what they're looking at in the cage. Umar and Usman probably focus a lot more on their taekwondo and their kicking, and that would be my answer to that. But Khabib, he kicked as necessarily. He could do it, but I always felt like he was more of a grapple base, and that was his style. That was his strength, above and beyond everybody on that. So Islam's a combo of both of those guys, and then Umar and Usman are definitely the super kickboxers of the two. I would not disagree with you on that. You can't hear me? Is this still the case? I don't know. I think it should be working. I hear myself. I can test the thing. Oh, okay. Monop sounds like a troublemaker. He just likes to have fun. He's mischievous, but he's fun. He always makes Coach laugh, makes me laugh. And he likes to charge everything to Javier's room. That's part of his gig. Let's see. I'm just going to scroll up real quick. Just want to make sure that the audio is coming in. Can somebody tell me before I answer the next question? Just like, okay, good. Thanks. Luthfan, help me out here. If Usman Nurmagomedov wants an easy fight and dominated in Bellator Grand Prix, he can use his insane kick because all the opponents not good strike with leg. Usman and Umar both have unique skill in MMA. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And the kickboxing's amazing. Put up a video the other day. A lot of people don't think about this. It was Usman, and he was doing pull-ups, just doing pull-ups on the bar, and he did 30. And that is phenomenal. I mean, just to get into special forces in the military, you have to do 12. And rarely have I ever seen anybody ever do 30 in my life. That guy's amazing. And that's just one element of his athleticism, not including his kicks, his boxing, his timing. Javier told me about him before I ever met him. He's like, wait till you see this guy. Wait till you see this guy. So when he came to the gym and I hung out with him in Dubai, just a nice guy. You forget that he's a dangerous world champion. And maybe that's what tricks his opponents too, because he is like a panther. He's there to pounce. No joke on that one. Let's see. Beyond knocking Alex is big potential because, like I said, Holloway's shown that round 2 and second fight that against Alex, unfortunately, after round 2, back to fight boxing. Yeah. It's kind of like that fight. If you watch Volkanovski versus Holloway, he kind of was, Alex forced Holloway to fight his fight, not his own. And you could see that if you watch it, it's like, oh, hey, let's tap. It's like, it kind of gets you, oh, okay, let's start doing that thing again where I get hit. That's sort of what happened. He realized where to sneak in. He was playing good MMA chess, Yes, I don't know. You'll never know. Let's see. Khabib versus Tony or Islam versus Charles. Maybe should be on the Ultimate Fighter. Tough. Be interesting. Let's see. Coach Javier and all AKA moved to Abu Dhabi, Dubai. Start a guy over here. Great country. Lots of money for MMA. You know, that's definitely there. I think Khabib was going to open a gym, but getting the coach to build a team there. The thing is, coach does love where he lives. He loves Dubai, but he's grown up his whole life, you know, in San Jose, California, and a lot of family there. And it's like, they're not all going to move. That's the only thing I can see preventing that. But I do see that, you know, and I told him, you should have a gym here. I was over there with him. I'm like, you definitely need to open up a gym. And I'm sure there's some local talent that could be developed. I know there's a lot of fight organizations, like I think Brave and some other ones that happen over there that are local to the Dubai area and Abu Dhabi area. But they also have the UFC, and I hear they're bringing the NBA to Abu Dhabi, so, and baseball possibly. Everything's going to be there, you know. But yeah, it's a cool idea. Oh, what's up? Hey, how you doing, Mohammed? Hi from Saudi. Cool. Okay, we heard you back. Thank you, Ravishing Rick. Okay. And from Pakistan. Awesome. I love the reach. Oh, 2:20 a.m. waiting for the UFC. Yeah, it's going to be a good card tonight. We did cover it earlier, who we think's going to win. I like to read these notes and people's observations. King Spart. Islam has underrated clinch work. He dropped Davi Ramos with a knee in the clinch. I see him hurting Volk there. He also was drilling elbows, so expect him to throw some. Oh, yeah. He can do it all. You might only see part of it, but Islam can definitely do all of that. And, yeah, I don't know if his opponents know. They watch tape and thinking there's only 2 moves, but there's 100 behind those moves. And let's see. Is Islam going for a lot of knees like when Khabib has been saying? Possibly. I mean, he's got this knee that's devastating, so that's possible. But you know what? How has Islam been winning? Grappling, right? So that's part of it. But I'm sure if he did a whole fight standing, which I know he probably won't, he could do a full fight standing. But the whole goal is to fight your fight, go to your strengths, go to something that the opponent can't even touch you on. And he's going to put something up that people haven't, you know, every fighter that goes up against him, I think a lot of them are like, wow, that's something I didn't estimate. They may not all say it, but you know, people like Justin Gaethje was saying things about Khabib, like, wow, what the hell was that? So, you know, people know now. Let's see. King Spart, Islam is underrated clinch work. Yes, we talked about this one. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay. By the way, Dennis, I look like Javier. I'm not Javier, but I look like Javier. I'm Len. Javier's on with us tomorrow. Let's see. Who wins the fight? I can't pick because I think they're strong in both. And the reason I can't pick a fight between these two, because they're brothers. It's like fighting a family member. That's why I can't see the fight happening. Yeah, it's really hard. Who will Umar fight next? We're going to find out. He's trying to get a fight in March in the UFC, probably at the Apex or somewhere. And that's what we get going on here. Let's see. Okay. Javier is getting soup for losing his voice today, but he'll be on tomorrow at noon. He was supposed to come on today, but sorry, guys. He'll be here tomorrow, though. Thanks for the stream. Been waiting for this. Love from England. Hey, Mohammed. You know, you're welcome. Looking forward. Hope to see you tomorrow. We're going to go at the same time. Yes, just had this question from Imam Hussein. We don't know yet. We're going to be finding out shortly. No problem, Dennis. You're welcome. Let's see. Saw Alex Volk's fight. He looks uncomfortable when the opponent throws body kicks and head kicks. Yes. And, you know, some of those kicks are going to be very unexpected if you do see them. I was thinking about that too. Kicks from Islam versus Volkanovski. Very possible. And Islam's kicks, they're devastating. They're not light. They might not look like a lot, but they definitely put a hurting on the opponent, and they're very fast. And I believe he has knockout power in those two. Not saying the fight will end that way, but that would be an interesting surprise. Well, listen, everybody, let's get ready for, I love this one. It's Islam time. We're going to start saying that just like it was Habib time. Get ready to hook up with Javier tomorrow. I appreciate you guys all coming by today. And we'll be doing this again. So tomorrow we'll do fan questions with Javier. I'm trying to do a couple more things. We're going to evolve the channel here. We want to get it where you can actually call in or talk to Javier and ask the question in your own voice by coming into the stream. And that's something that we want to do. I'm sure it'd be cool for you guys to ask Javier a question. And what I do is I put a link in the chat, and then people can like come in here and like talk to us. We can hear your voice. So I think it would be really cool. We got this right here. Is anyone from Europe? By the way, thanks for the podcast. Europe, I grew up in Europe, believe it or not. I was a military brat. I lived in Italy for 13 years, in Germany for a couple of years. We do have somebody from Italy. So he was just here a second ago. Let's see. Servant. Islam submission via Dagestani handcuffs. Very possible, or side choke, or arm bar. There's a lot of ways he can go. Triangle. Hey, thank you, Liz fan. And no problem. Servant of the Most High. Awesome. I did a little bit of that earlier. If you're watching the stream, I got to get going here shortly. So, but I just wanted to catch up with everybody and not just ditch you guys and not show up for a stream. I mean, Hav was ready to roll, and I just hear, I'm like, oh my gosh, Hav, are you okay? So he's taking some soup. But we'll have Coach, and we'll belt out the great show, talk more about Volkanovski versus Islam, talk about a lot of stuff. Who Umar could be fighting next, what's up with Usman and other AKAs, people coming up, and maybe break down the fight that's going to happen tonight, our takeaways from tonight's pay-per-view. Or I don't know if it's pay-per-view. Pretty much is. Let me see. The fight tonight, yeah, it's a pay-per-view. We've got UFC 283, yeah. We'll be talking about that tomorrow. So we'll do a breakdown. This is a good one. How do you make sure that Islam's not underestimating Volk by even 1%? It's hard to convey that. It's basically he doesn't spend his time doing focus with nothing but 100% focus on his next opponent. I think that's the best way to make that understood. I'm not Javier's brother, but I guess we become like brothers. The more you work around Javier, the more you look like Javier, the more you guys seem like brothers. I think that happens. I'm not sure. I don't have a Twitter right now. I had a Facebook. It was pretty big, and then somebody hacked me, but you can find me. Let's see. Let me get my I'll get my Instagram on here if you guys want it. Hang on one second. That I can give you. I have not been the biggest self-promoter, even though I've been helping Javier run this show. So, one sec. Okay. Yes, I'll put it up there for you so you guys can see it. And I've really been fun talking with everybody in here too. I'll make a little banner where you guys can find my stuff here. Okay. Okay. On Instagram. So there you go. That's how you can find me. I'm gonna get some more comments here. Yes. Well, I met Coach Javier. I was filming, doing stuff for different journalist sites, like, you see people like Ariel or other people that do MMA. And I said, let's just do something together about you, because we live nearby. And I was like, you get a great story to tell. Every time I talk to him, I'm like, you should have a podcast. And this happened a couple of years ago. So that's where the whole thing happened between Hav and I. We have been seeing Islam saying Volk is a short guy and something like that. Am I worried? They should not be underestimating. By the way, big Islam fan. Don't worry about it. You can be, though. It always makes the fight fun. Like, ooh, it's the intrigue, right? So let's see. Garg, that's a joke, bro. Team Habib never they never underestimate an opponent. No, they plan on it like a game of chess, really, to be honest with you. Jeez, what's going on in the background with my stuff? Okay. Is it possible to pop wrist at a handcuff squeeze? I don't know. I've never asked that question, but I know that I haven't seen any opponents do it that easily. And do you think Islam can take the title fight against the winner after the fight between Leon and Usman? No, I don't think so. No problem, Nora. It's been a pleasure. That's still going on. We're going to have two of them. One with Jav and I, the Javier specialized one, and that will be more the Kane one with Javier on it. So we'll talk about that tomorrow too. So I want to say to everybody, good night if it's nighttime, and good evening if it's evening where you're at. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll be back tomorrow with Javier, and please tune in and tell your friends about it. And thank you very much for joining us, man. I mean, me. Thanks for joining me. We will see you soon. Have a good day.